summit, I have an important message for you from Ladakh. I would have loved to personally attend, but due to some prior commitments I couldn't, although I have attended several ScooNews conferences. I believe that children need to be prepared in schools for the world of tomorrow, and we have a responsibility. And in the world of tomorrow, the climate crisis is going to be the biggest thing they'll have to handle. And for this, recently in Ladakh, we launched the I Live Simply movement, where we try to change the behaviors and lifestyles of people around the world to contain the climate crisis. And we have always seen that children are not just people to be moved, managed around, but actually partners in change making. So we invite schools and children to be partners in this global movement, which will start in India but change the world, is what we hope. We invite your school to be a partner in the I Live Simply movement. More about the movement is in the video that follows, and at the end of it, it has details about the website and context. If your school would like to be a partner, do please let us know. And we are also working on making a curriculum that can be part of schools. Several schools from around the world have approached us for such possibilities, and if you are interested, do get in touch with us. And towards the new year this year, we hope that a global movement from India will start with children as the main torchbearers, changing their families, relatives, communities towards a more saner world. Thank you, and I look forward to meeting you some point, maybe a video conference in your school to address the children, or visit even. Let's keep in touch. Thank you very much.
The scene has been set. Sonam Wangchuk was in our school a few days back, and it's worthwhile interacting with him. A very passionate man who really walks the talk. Give him a big round of applause, for he's somebody. I've been in Ladakh. There are many armed forces leaders here. To be able to make that kind of change is something exceptional. And the way he's thinking about it, and that would be the future. But much more than anything else, at the outset, to the team which has organized this conference, sir, you're doing a great job. To you, our good old PPS headmaster who has been there for long, and to Ravi, a big round of applause. It's a theme which is right on this auspicious day, wherein gratitude is more than important as we celebrate today. One of my abiding memories of being a very young officer is the visit to the Golden Temple. It was during the peak of militancy, and how entering the Golden Temple was a very different spiritual experience in more ways than one. So when we do this session over here, we should always remember the messages of peace and, of course, gratitude, which the entire religion, more than it was being a religion for somebody from the south, just joined the armed forces, what the Golden Temple and the Harmandir Sahib meant has deeply etched it into my heart. So it's a wonderful occasion to start this session with. Right, I have about 30 minutes, and my job is to talk less and get all of you to speak more. So there is that photograph which I wanted you to show. Can we? Right. Climate change. Somebody, the lady who started off a new school, talked about VUCA. We have had a lot of thoughts about it. Now, this literally looks to be our future. It's already here, hitting us on our faces. The first question to all of us is, do we really accept climate change the way we should? Or are we talking like Donald Trump and stay in deniability right through? So let's have initial thoughts, initial comments about it. Where do we start? Climate change Do we really recognize it the way we should? Let me ask my predecessor. Yes, sir.
I think, sir.
Please, sir, request you to stand up and introduce yourself and let's make a start.
I'm Harish Chandocha. I'm the Director of Schools, Sekhar and Ramjaypuriya Group of Schools. I think we do not recognize climate change currently as it should have been done. There is nothing that seems to be coming up from the people of our current generation. Essentially, what is happening is that carbon footprinting should have been done mandatory in the schools a long time back. It is something that should have been a part of our process of life, but nothing seems to be happening there. And whatever the governments are doing right now, how the Parali is being burnt and all those things, all this leads to some of the foolish government processes also. I strongly believe that we need to deliberate about it and bring it as a part of curriculum.
Yes, good. Give him a big round of applause, and I think that's something which I would come back to one of the organizers of the conference on climate change. You represent the government. What do you think? Where do you stand? You made some wonderful Urdu couplets. You have one on climate change. If you have, you can share it. Alternatively, what's the government thinking on it, sir? Quick.
So, introduction. I am D.L. Sharma, Secretary Education, Chandigarh Administration. So, climate change is a great reality which all of us are aware of, and if it is not arrested, it will have disastrous consequences. And every day we read in newspapers, and then there are articles and there are debates on TV also. And it is the duty of each and every human being to contribute towards arresting this climate change. And climate change has occurred over the last few decades in a drastic manner. And the reason is reckless development. The very idea of development which economists give us, which the world generally makes us believe, is something which is not digestible to me. While I was working in Andamans long back in the year 2012 to 15, there was a conference and some economists had come, and one economist from South was there. And I asked him a very stupid question. And the stupidity of the question was that I don't understand what is growth and what is development as far as economics defines it. The growth and development in the words of, in terms of economies, we add more services, we add more goods, and what would be that? Growth would be meaning in today's terms, more of roads, more of railway lines, more of vehicles, more of factories, more of construction, more of stonification. This is development. If this is development, the climate change is going to be there, the change which we are witnessing today. And then I made a reference to him. We Indians, some of you may not believe it, but I believe it strongly, we were at the pinnacle of our glory during Vedic period. The time when Upanishads were composed was the highest and the glorious most period of Indian history. And can a person or persons on empty stomach compose books or the scriptures like Upanishads? About Upanishads, one of the European philosophers, Schopenhauer, who was from Italy, had said that the philosophy of Upanishads is the highest in the world. It had been the solace of my life. It shall be the solace of my death. Coming back. When we were at the highest, that means we would have progressed, we would have been prosperous, we would have really dwelt. That development and today's development is absolutely antipodal. And if we have to add more roads, if we have to add more buildings, if we have to have more vehicles, if we are going to have more planes, more satellites, then the world will get stonified. More and more deforestation will be there. Environment will be going to be damaged. To me, the whole concept of development has to be reviewed and has to be rethought. If this concept continues to be there, no change will take place. If every country wants more and more roads, more and more buildings, more and more machines, more and more factories, more and more industries, then how do you arrest it? You just can't arrest it. So you have to rethink, and it has to be some innovative way of handling this, and we need to do it. As government, as society, as individuals, as organizations, we have to contribute.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for setting that point. Sense which normally don't we look at is it would become the largest in terms of population in the world. The United States tends to have per person the maximum amount of climate change, gases, pollution, etc. per person, but as a whole, because we are a larger country, we tend to do it much more. So in terms of development, sustainability, and also getting the rest of our 250 million people out of poverty, having a square meal a day, how do we as educators make the difference in terms of how we can we as a generation have clearly not been sustainable in terms of the environment. How do we make the difference? Yes, ma'am. Introduce yourself and restrict your answers to about a minute. Thank you.
I'm Reema Dewan. I'm the principal of the public school, Chandigarh. Personally, I feel incorporating all of this in the curriculum is one part of the story.
Right.
Because the change in that is not going to happen overnight, and we're not going to see it overnight. So it's going to take some time for it to seep in, for these young children to become adults who can incorporate. The purpose here is, as schools, not only to transmit it to the students, but also involve all the adult stakeholders. I think that's a very important point.
Good point.
So if you have,
of the adult stakeholders,
which means your teachers, your parents, they are a very, very important, they play a very important role in this. I know as a principal, you can go on and on about carpooling and things like that. It doesn't happen overnight. We can only hope it happens. These very, very small initiatives are the initiatives which can take us. But at the moment, you are very right. We just accept it. This is the time of the year. This festival is there. This is the time of the year. The stubble will burn. This is the time of the year. This kind of a thing would happen. That acceptability has to go. And the accountability has to come by involving everybody.
Yes. Wonderfully said, and she has set the stage for it. But I'm coming to you, ma'am. I also have a question regarding the way the narrative has happened. In Delhi, we have cars, commercial vehicles, and many of the industries polluting, which is well above 50%. But the media, being what it is, Delhi-centric as such, has conveniently put the vast majority of the blame on the stubble burning, which is about 30-35%. So that also plays into a certain narrative. Do we have principals from Delhi here? Do we have principals from Delhi? Anyone here who's been regular there? Okay, yes. Delhi? Yes. I'm coming to them. Yeah. You're from NCR, right? Yes. What is your take? You know me well enough. What is your take?
Yes.
Living in such situations, what is your take on it? And we have some strong questions about it, please.
I think our wise colleagues just stated that it's about not just a way of life, the way we think, it's an attitude. And children often ask us, what did you do to this world? Today we can't have fun, we can't do anything because you did it all. We are celebrating 150th year of Gandhi. We make many beacons. It's a good question to ask ourselves. Do we really live our lives without that greed element? And are we ready to give up some of the things that we feel we must have because we have money, position, and so I won't even call it wealth. So there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. We need to understand that.
Great point. Well spoken, ma'am. Yes, there was a raised hand over here.
Morning everyone, I'm gold medal from Sapal Middle School, Ludhiana. And I think when we are talking about sustainable development, we have been creating bank balances, we have been creating balances of cars and everything. Why not to create an oxygen balance? Why not to own up, I think, 7 plants each, which can create oxygen in the environment where we can live up, where we can breathe, where we can have something which is good for us and for our future generations. I think we have been working tirelessly for maintaining those bank accounts, but why not an oxygen account? Why not something for the environment?
Oxygen account and oxygen balance. Life will become extremely interesting. I will marry X if she has got more oxygen balance in her life. I will marry Y if she has got. I won't marry Y. I will divorce her when her oxygen account goes down. Life as it is very interesting. Imagine having, ma'am, I'm just making it, it's a good point. Imagine having parent-teacher meetings on the basis of oxygen accounts. Life would become extremely interesting. I saw a raised hand. Yeah. Yes, sir. Your point. Introduce yourself and say that. Please give her a big round of applause, please.
Thank you. So I'm Swagat. I'm the founder of One Young India. At first, I really like to discuss. I'm going to be a little critical. I'm going to be a little bold. We was having a discussion with Jagpreet sir yesterday about this as well. We live in a world where our world leaders are traveling in the private jets. They're going to World Economic Forum. They're going to Switzerland. Even right now, we're sitting and having bottles from plastic water bottles. We're sitting in pristine environments and we're discussing climate change.
Right.
We're discussing poverty in Switzerland.
Right.
It does not make sense.
Right.
Nobody knows about what virtual climate summits are. We right now have the ICD available. Why don't we use that? Some predate that, hardly made news. The success stories are not making news. Greta Thunberg made news recently, but we have been talking about curriculum, so kids are being taught ozone layer depletion. But that is the one success story because of the Montreal Protocol. The number of kids I've interacted with, none of them know what Montreal Protocol is. That was the one success reason why the ozone layer.
What's your fundamental point? We are a hypocritical. We are a hypocritical society.
Very, very much.
Very much so.
And we really need to, like ma'am said, we really need to, walk the talk.
We really need to walk the talk. So,
unless that happens, I don't think so that we're looking at
go out of your 5-star environments, get real, talk less, act more. Is that your point?
Yes.
Give him a big round of applause. I think that's a point which comes across often, very often, and it's very much relevant. Sir, you are coming from Indore, right, sir? Right. Yeah. Here is Neeraj Badotia, the principal of one of the most famous schools here, and I have a personal relationship with him. I was posted in Ajmer during my last tenure as principal there, and I was completely lost for everything because things were quite difficult. And it's Neeraj Badotia, Pramod Sharma sir sitting here, Jabira Singh, who gave me that space and freedom, and I remember him always with gratitude for having given us the spark to get the school back in order. But my point is, Indore is considered one of the cleanest cities in India. What is your take? How do you understand by that? And looking at that, what actions are you taking for the students, for the citizens of tomorrow to become better climate change aware citizens? Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction, Colonel. It was always a pleasure meeting you once again here. I know we are short of time. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you. I'm sorry I didn't pick up your name for calling a spade. We are all guilty, particularly people who enjoy such festivities and talk of environment. And at my school, what I have done for plastic bottles is that we've got copper bottles. And even when gathering like that happens, they serve through those bottles and glasses. So that's very small part, but very difficult when my old boys come and they all want plastic. I had under 19 final of India, Vinumangal, and I was aghast to see the amount of plastic bottles on the field. So I do know that we do bit, but there's so much more to be done. At a school, to answer your question, My predecessor, Dr. Sumedh Singh, I don't know if he's here, he was supposed to be. He started something very good there. Because we have 118 acres, so there were areas that he found out where the rain falls, we get enough rainfall, and if we can take 25% of that down, we calculated, we cater to the entire year water kind of replenish whatever we use, number one. So he created a lot of lakes. I continued with that, and we have a lot of recharge pits, which I did 25 of these today, this year. Last year, we used Miyawaki forest. In 35,000 square feet, we planted 23,000 trees. 23,000. Last year, there were saplings, and this year, some of them have reached 16 feet. Miyawaki forest. If you can remember that, please do use it. This is Japanese technique because they do not have much land, so they do it. This year we planted another 10,000 trees because we got very excited with that. So this is what we are doing, and now another thing we are doing this year is STP. We are 50,000, we are augmenting to 25,000, and also it is vortex technology, doesn't use much electricity. So it's through gravity. So 250,000 liters of water will be recycled, and all our 9 fields, which are green now, will be used there. So this part.
Wonderful, wonderful, sir. But you have how many acres, you said?
180.
180. How many of us even have 18 acres to do much of these things? Right. So great in terms of converting thoughts into reality, but the hypocrisy, what you described, we do an annual day on sustainability and we send out 6,000 leaflets on paper today to follow it up. So it comes as part of the territory. Now you, sir, you had something to say.
So, thank you, Colin. My name is Abhishek Gupta. I'm a career counselor and founder of a company, edtech company called Saplingo. The reason why we named the company Saplingo was, though it's an edtech company, but sapling is a very, very important word in today's environment situation. Now, though it's a very grim situation out there in future, but I do see a ray of hope, and that's our children. I'm a father to a 12-year-old, and thanks to this education system, he's become far more cognizant about environment than I am.
Right.
He is not burning crackers, I used to.
Right.
He doesn't throw garbage on the road,
Right.
I used to.
Right.
So what I'm trying to say is, yes, it is a very, very grim situation, but the ray of hope is our children. And as long as we can learn from them, because these discussions and the discussions in schools is definitely changing the children. We just need to let them command the future.
Right. Let them command the future where we have failed. I think I have another 5 minutes, another 5 hands. Those are the last 5 I would take. Yes, ma'am. You had something to say? Yes. Shoot, and now this will be 30 seconds only. I'll cut you off after 30 seconds so that we can have more people talking. Yes, I'll come to you too, yes. And give me my 2 minutes of conclusion. Yes.
Yeah, I'm architect Ranju Sikhi from Basics Architects, New Delhi, where we design a lot of schools.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to add to ma'am and sir, they said like adults, the parents, the owners, they are the stakeholders of the school. But here I would like to add the architects are also equally the stakeholders where they design the schools. The orientation of the building, the site constraints, getting sustainability, environmental friendly schools, the landscape, everything plays a pivotal role where architects design.
Fair. So architects, as architects, you are doing your bit to do that. Yeah, a big round of applause in those terms. Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself. Your 30 seconds starts now.
Absolutely. Good morning to everybody. My name is Arpit Panjwani. I'm director of Ma Anandmai Memorial School, and I'm a DOSCO, so environmental conservation comes to me naturally, as Mr. Bali taught me at school, so that stays with me. But besides, how many of us here know Greta Thunberg?
Yeah, most of us.
Most of us.
Yes.
How many of us know a girl called Ridhima Pandey?
Yes, we have seen it. Yes.
Just few of us.
Yes.
She's one of the girls who travelled with Greta Thunberg for the environmental conclave, the summit, but most of us don't know her. How many of us promote such children who take the initiative, file petitions, give them the platform, promote them, and establish their leadership potential? How many of us do that?
So my point is that tends to happen.
Very little.
No, my point is there is a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of showbiz which goes up. Till the time it hits you on your backside, big time. Till the time Delhi, let's be clear. till Delhi realized that this is going to be more than a pain, we were sitting on our backsides. We didn't do anything. So now schools in Delhi are saying, are you coming by a school bus? One exam less, your assessment. Can you carpool? So my own point is, one part is education. You say this is it. The second part is, how can we prevent Chandigarh from becoming a Delhi?
Sure.
How can we make Trivandrum? And also the third point I have, I'm trying to do this better. Chennai has got much worse on certain parameters. But we are unaware of it because Delhi is blown out of proportion in many ways than one. So how do we balance many of us having more than 1, 2, 3 cars with ourselves and preaching wonderfully the impact and effects of climate change? So that gentleman who said we are naturally hypocritical in these aspects, how the hell do we get out of it? Thank you, sir. Thanks for your words. Give him a big round of applause. Yeah. Yes. I'll come back to you, sir. Yes, sir. Those two, and then we'll come to you, sir.
It's Rajiv from Chandigarh. So basically, as society, we are not the exploiters of society.
We are not?
Not the exploiters of the society.
Hello, sir. Good morning. I disagree with you on that.
Yes, sir.
As passionately as I can.
Yes.
We have screwed it big time, left, right, and center.
Sir,
we have exploited it beyond imagination.
Yes.
And let us, as a group, accept the responsibility for it. I disagree with you on that, but you have a right for your viewpoint.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
We are the judicious users of the society. Even we worship natural phenomena, rather they are trees, birds, animals, and anything else. Today we are celebrating 550th anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, before 500 years, Guru Nanak Dev Ji ने कहा है, पवन गुरु पानी पिता माता धरत महत. So if we implement all these things, whatever our ancestors taught us, I think there is no problem of that.
Follow Guru in its letter and spirit, fine. But you follow the letters in conferences like that. When it comes to actions, I cannot go with my son. My daughter goes separately. She should have a Mercedes. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your point. There was a lady, and then we go into a conclusion. Thank you. Please give him a big round of applause. He at least had the courage to say that some of us are talking nonsense. Good, sir. Yes, ma'am. Introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Rupa Sen, and
please.
Basically I'm from Delhi, and then in this last 6 years I was in Trivandrum, your state, and I noticed the kind of change that I witnessed from Delhi to Trivandrum. But today in this conclave, I'll tell you exactly what I did when Trivandrum itself is a pollution-free city, one of the beautiful cities that we could emulate from them. 2 points. Nevertheless, as an educator, I have more responsibility even when the city is already covered with a lot of ecology, green. So 2 things that we did in all our ceremonies, starting with the graduation ceremony and any ceremony, irrespective of what we have, we always give plants as the best gift.
Right.
Much later do I see this has become a fad.
Yes.
I did it long time ago. And all the water that was collected due to the monsoon and the rains, and even the rains in Kerala that you have witnessed, all of you, we did a rainwater harvesting in our own school, and we could utilize that in times of drought. However, having said that, we didn't have drought. The third thing that we did, solar paneling, and using that panel to draw electricity, which of course many of us are doing now. And finally, what she touched on, the particular school that I was working, it's such a visionary school. We did not go in for an air conditioner on a deliberate note. It was intentional. Why? Because the architect had done a good job, and it was during the hot summer season.
Who was the architect, ma'am?
I will not be able to recollect it.
Right.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
He had done that good job that during the hot season, we would get natural.
Which is the school you're talking about?
Random International School.
Oh, right, I've understood. We'll give her a big round of applause. I'm familiar with what she's talking about. Yes, sir. 1, 2, and that's it. Yes, sir.
Good morning, all of you. My name is Parvinderjeet, and I'm heading a school, the Scottish International, Patiala. I'll not take much time. Word of caution for all. I know principals are sitting here, educators are sitting here, directors are sitting here. Word of caution is future is in danger. Not future, your careers are in danger. It is not about down the lane after 10 years when you'll think. You just have to see. You are not just teaching students. You have to see there's so many problems you will face. From where to get clean water, from where to get clean air. We will not have that. Sir is right when he said that he has dug out pits. He has dug out lakes are there in school. This is the way you can teach your students. Otherwise, you keep on telling all these things in classrooms, they will not be able to understand all these things.
Yes, sir.
Replicate these things.
Yes, sir. We take what you're saying. Last two speakers. I give him a round of applause, ma'am. 30 seconds, and then I come to you, sir, the director. Yes, 30 seconds, quickly.
My name is Himani Singh, and I'm the coordinator at Remote World School Naba. My point is regarding that when we purchase a thing, we always pay the price of that, the money value. But we never ask the nature, what is the price you are paying for that?
Right.
And in the curriculum of the students, we really find 3 hours, and in the last it is reduced. Somewhere we need to focus upon that, the reduction.
Right.
And production is increasing day by day.
Reduction versus production. Yes. Give her a big round of applause. The director wanted to say something. Yes, sir. Quick.
I will just sum up that we need to take a break. We have to pause. We have to stop because we have already reached such a point. Technology has taken us to such a height. We have to go back to basics. That is the crux, I think, because if I look at my childhood, I was more happy, I was more comfortable than that technology has given me. We have to take back to our roots, and as already our principal has mentioned, Guru Nanak Dev Ji ne bada acha.
He talks about his own grandchildren, a young grandchild asking his father and grandfather, why have you made me have a bath only once a week? Why are you making my hair to be used with artificial ingredients? There is shortage of water. India is a water-stressed country. There is, and now as I see, something like 96,500 rupees per day oxygen is required if you have to sustain in Delhi. That would create new entrepreneurs. That is interesting, but let's bloody get real. Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for all cooperating with me. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Arnab Goswami, Lieutenant Colonel Sekhar.
I will kill you without giving you water.
Is there any substitute for Colonel Sekhar when he comes to open up? I didn't hear that.